All right, Shalom, 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 Israel. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbat. Right, we're the Sons of Zion Israelites, the Houston camp, coming to you with another video for your edification, man. Right, so welcome to another episode of Faith by Works, where we study a commandment week in and week out, right, to further perfect our walk with the Most High God. This is the book of the Song of the Three Holy Children, verse 61. It says, O Israel, bless ye the Lord, praise and exalt him above all forever. Right. So first and foremost, we want to say all Kal Yahweh Bashem wa Malak Yahweh Shah, that's giving all honor and glory to the Most High God by way of his Son, who the world inwardly calls Jesus Christ. This is the book of James, chapter 2, and verse 14. What does it profit, my brethren, though a man say he hath faith and have not works? Can faith save him? So simply saying, right, that I have faith, I believe, right, I fear God, right? Is this enough? Is this sufficient enough? Verse 18, it says, ye a man say thou hast faith and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works. So you show forth your faith, your fear, your reverence, and homage unto the Most High God by your actions. All right, what you do, what you say, how you move, right, and how you think. Titus chapter 1 and verse 16 says, they prophesy that they know God, but in works they deny him, being abominable and disobedient, and unto every good work reprobate. So in a lot of cases, right, our people show themselves a hypocrite, right? They say one thing, but their actions, right, and their heart says another, right? This is the book of Hebrews 11 and 6. It says, but without faith it is impossible to please him, for he hath come into God, must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Right. So just keeping the commandments is not enough. We want to bring out Hebrews 11 because we have to understand that in simultaneous efforts, right, having faith is just as important as keeping the commandments. So your works and you believing, right, you believe, right, and you show forth your belief by your actions, and you do what the Most High God commands you with your actions because you believe in his wrath and in his power. All right. So simultaneously, we have faith and we put forth the works. It's important to understand it. Right. So what is the work of the week? What is the commandment of the week? What is, all right, the lesson of edification for this week? It's called lukewarmness. Pick a side. That's right. The title of today's lesson is Lukewarmness. Pick a side. All right, we're going to dive into, how the Most High God feels about lukewarmness and that gray area, and how, you're fervent and then, in the spirit, and then, you're going off and then you dark. We understand that, hey, look, we're going to fall 7 times, right? It's important that we strive to always be fervent in the spirit, right? Because we understand that the Most High God doesn't like wishy-washiness. He doesn't like inconsistency. So we keep that in mind whenever we fall off, and that should motivate us to stay fervent in the spirit, right? So let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 15. It says, see, I have set before thee this day life and good, and death and evil. So you see in verse 15, the Most High God has given you, right, what I like to say is, the blue pill and the red pill, right? Let's take us back to the Matrix, right? When you look at that movie, you have Morpheus in the movie saying, all right, look, which one you going to choose, the red or the blue? Well, the Most High God is giving you, right, giving you this day what? Life and good, death and evil, right? Living in darkness or choosing life. Verse 19, it says, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. Right. So the Most High God, time and time again throughout Deuteronomy, it tells us, right, if you do what I say do, you're going to be blessed. But if you fail to keep my commandments, there will be judgments. All right. There will be cursing for you and your seed forever. Right. So it's important that we pick a side. Do we choose life or do we choose death? Do we choose to do what is pleasing unto the Most High God, or do we choose to do what is displeasing? Revelation chapter 3 and verse 15, it says, I know all the things you do. So we understand that the Most High God is omniscient, omnipotent, an all-knowing God, right? It says that you are neither hot nor cold. I wish that you were one or the other. But since you are like lukewarm water, neither hot nor cold, I will spit you out of my mouth. So the Most High God is showing a great detest right here. He's showing irritation. I don't like it when you're wishy-washy. I don't like when you're lukewarm. So the Most High God does not like inconsistency. And we don't as well. We can understand that. Let's bring it to today's day, right? Let's say that you're getting ready to leave out, and the day prior, you washed your clothes. And now that it is time to get ready, you go to the dryer to pull them out and maybe run an iron if need be. And you say, okay, these are good. And you put them on and you feel that your jeans or your shirt is damp in certain places. That's going to irritate your spirit. I know it would for me. I can't stand putting on damp socks or damp clothing. Or if you put on undergarments and it's hot in one spot and it's cold in the other. It's going to make you want to take them off and change your whole wardrobe. You understand? Well, that's how the Most High God feels, right? Imagine you going to Wingstop or you going to Popeyes or you going to churches or whatever. It's your cheat day, all right? And you want to get a bucket of chicken and watch the game. Well, imagine biting into that chicken and you see blood. Imagine biting into that chicken and it's not done all the way. You're going to want to throw the whole bucket of chicken away and you're going to want your money back. You're not even going to want to eat chicken no more. You know what I mean? So we have to understand how that lukewarmness and how that wishy-washy and how that inconsistency, it irritates us. Well, how about one more? Remember those days when you were, playing outside? Remember those days where, you were in and out the house, you wanted to drink of water, but you also wanted to play basketball. And it was irritating your mama. Your mom was like, look, y'all gonna have to pick one. You gonna go in or you gonna go out? Y'all running up my light bill. Every time you open up that door, hot air comes in. That summer air, it puts stress on my thermostat. Every time you open up that door, this AC is working harder to cool it down. I'm about to lock that door and I'm about to kick y'all out. And I'm gonna have y'all drinking from the water hose. Some people may not have a mama like that, but I did. Pick a side. That's what the Most High God is telling you in Revelation and Deuteronomy 30. All right, I yield there. Brother got it.
Yeah, pick a side, right? Nobody likes a fence sitter, right? Nobody likes a hypocrite. Nobody likes somebody that's fake, right? I mean, we see it even in pop culture, right? look at the situation that Young Thug is going through, right? He was facing a RICO charge a couple years ago. Did them couple years fighting that case while locked up, right? Then you see an artist signed to him by the name of Gunna get out through taking a plea deal, right? So when that case finally wraps up and Young Thug gets set free, he gets, and all he can do is preach what? Gunna's a rat. He's a rat. Don't like him. Don't mess with him. Telling all of his industry homeboys, don't mess with Gunna. He a rat. We don't like rats. That's all. He would tweet that every day. Seemed like, right? He a rat, right? And what ended up happening, right? A couple weeks ago, all of his jail phone calls started getting leaked, right? And come to find out, the man that's out here screaming rat this, rat that, hey, he himself was out here snitching, right? And now it seems like everybody's turning on him. Why? Not because he took a stance. It's because he took a stance and didn't live by that stance, right? The Most High, when he freed us from the land of Egypt, when he made that promise to our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? He gave us a stance to take, right? So real quick, let me get this. It's the book of Psalm, chapter 147, and verse 19, the classic, right? It says, he showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He had not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord, right? This was the stance that the Lord gave us, right? Hey, I'm going to show you the ways that are righteousness, right? According to the author and creator of all things. This is what's righteousness. He gave us these things for an heritage, pursuant to Sirach 17 and 11, right? This was supposed to be what we lived by. And what was the purpose of these things? What was the purpose of us knowing them versus all of the other nations, right? Let's go to the law. Book of Exodus, chapter 19. I'm going to start at verse 5, right? It says, now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, right? So this was the Most High's purpose for us, right? To be a kingdom of priests and a set apart nation, right? What is that? That's right, son, priests, right? What's the definition of priests? For the sake of time, I already pulled it up in a blue letter, right? It says an active participle, right? Literally one officiating, a priest, also by courtesy an acting priest, right? Although a layman, a chief ruler, own priest, prince, principal officer, right? So what does that mean? What do all those words mean, right? Just as how we have what? Police officers that are out here on the street. They're there to do what? Enforce and uphold the laws of this land, right? Well, the Lord says that we're supposed to be on this earth enforcing and upholding his laws, right? And that's the whole purpose of him giving them to us, so that we can be that priest, right? And because we hadn't done that, because we've been lukewarm, right? What's happened to, right? Second Esdras, chapter 15 and verse number 6, it says, for wickedness exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled, right? Because we haven't taken up our office, right, to keep, uphold these laws, statutes, and commandments, and to enforce them and to push them throughout the whole earth. The earth has been polluted with wickedness, right? And the Lord is not pleased with that, right? I mean, of course, this is all of his divine plan and his divine will, but we have to look at it from the eyesight of the men that we are, right? We have not done our part in keeping the covenant that the Lord gave unto us, right? And so when we go through the things that we go through, right, when we suffer the diseases and the afflictions and then all of the oppression that we go through, we have nobody to blame but ourselves, right? And the Lord tells us that. This is one last precept on passage, Ken. In the classic, Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6, it says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, right? And what was that knowledge that we lacked, right? Well, we lacked the knowledge of who we were, what our heritage was. Remember, again, that heritage are these laws of life, right? And who our God was. And our God is somebody who what? He's a man of war, the king of terrors. He's the one that kills and makes alive. He's the one that wounds and that heals, right? There's nobody that can deliver from his hand. We've forgotten these things, right? And now in this time of refreshing coming upon the land, this valley of dry bones that's being shaken up, right? We still have a vast majority of our people, because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, right? That thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. So we see that word there again, priest, right? Because there are going to be a lot of our people in that day screaming, what? Lord, Lord, right? But as the brother Kazak brought out in Revelation, spew them out of his mouth because they had been lukewarm. They had rejected knowledge. So how can we expect for them to be priests, right? To be officers, enforcers, and promoters of these laws of life, right? Of the righteousness set by the Most High God. We can't, right? And it's our duty to make sure that we do whatever we need to and strive as hard as we possibly can to be seen as worthy so we can have that mercy, right? So that we can be those enforcers in that day, right? And with that, I yield.
Good points by, of course, both my brothers, right? So we also, gonna keep everything going. So we know, like with everybody has need to pick a side, right? Because basically, time is of the essence, right? Time is something that we can't get back, and it's something that we don't know how much of it we have left, right? So it's like when you wake up in the morning, we have opportunities and a choice to make, right? So are we going to pick the side of righteousness, or are we going to pick the side of folly, right? So we need to know how we're going to move in our lifestyle, excuse me, right? Because the kingdom is at hand, our soul is at stake, right? So let me go and get like my brother said it, Revelations 3:15. The Most High doesn't want you to be lukewarm. Doesn't want you to be a fence straddler, right? We can't be going here one day and then acting like this the next day, right? So let's get 1 Corinthians 10 and 20 and 21. Slack 1 Corinthians 10 and 21. Ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils, right? So you can't be within both sides. You can't be partaking with the Lord and the Most High, and also trying to fellowship with the devils and doing devilish things. That's off right there. We can't be in the middle, right? He wants you to pick a side and stay there, right? So let's go to James 1:8, and it says, "A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways." Your indecisiveness, you don't know which way to go, right? And while you're doing that, you are not being taken seriously. Because you're wishy-washy, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't know what you want to do. And while you're sitting there being stagnant, time is steady moving. Time is steady going. The closer every day is closer and closer to when your house shot gonna crack that sky, right? You need to know which side you're going to be on, which way you're moving, right? Because you're going to know how our spirit is. You're going to know by the fruits and the actions that we take and partake in, right? So let's go to Sirach 27, and we're going to go to verse 8. And says, "If thou followest righteousness, thou shalt obtain her and put her on as a glorious long robe." So basically, it's like we're going to put on this glorious long robe of righteousness, right? We're going to wear it with confidence, with honor, take pride in the righteousness that we're going to do because we're picking a side for the Most High. So we have to honor that and exalt each other with that and with our actions. And basically just wear it with confidence and show us what we're trying to do. I yield.
I'll praise to the Most High, right? So I'm gonna get a count, right, that shows, right, two of our forefathers who were fervent in the spirit and doing the work of the Lord, and they picked a side. They chose, righteousness, right? They chose to put on that garment, and despite, what the world was doing, right? The world was moving carnally, but they continue to move forward and they continue to show a unified front in doing the work of the Lord, right? So I'm going to get the account of Apollos and Paul, right? First, I'm going to get 2 Timothy 4 and verse 2. It says, "Preach the word, be instant in season and out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine," right? So it's going to be times where it's out of season. It's going to be times where you're going to be I guess the minority, if you will. You're going to be least in number compared to everybody else when doing the work. There's going to be a time where you bringing out the word, or you're being a light, if you will, and you're surrounded by darkness. Well, that's what Apollos and Paul were surrounded by, darkness. It says what? For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers, right? So they're going to be serving their own bellies. People do this today, where they put their emotions first. People prioritize what? Their feelings and what they see to be as right, and completely, excluding, right, and dismissing, sound doctrine and reproof from the scriptures, right? This is going to happen in the last days. Reading on, it says, having itching ears, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables. But watch thou in all these things, endure afflictions, do the work of an evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry. Now, we seen Apollos and Paul making full proof of the ministry when people started to get carnal. They start to formulate groups and formulate and sow discord and formulate camps, saying, hey, look, I'm Apollos, I follow Apollos, or hey, I follow Paul. This was taking place. But let's see what happens in the account. We're going to go to the book of Acts chapter 18, and I'm going to give verse 24. It says, and a certain Jew named Apollos, born at Alexandria, an eloquent man and mighty in the scriptures, came to Ephesus, right? So here you have Apollos, right? A Jew, right? And he was born in Alexandria, Egypt, okay? And he was an eloquent man, and he was mighty, he was knowledgeable, and he went to Ephesus, all right? It says this man was instructed in the way of the Lord, and being fervent in the spirit, meaning he chose a side. He made a cognitive decision. Hey, look, Lord, I love you, and I'm going to sincerely follow you. He chose, all right? And that's what you got to do. It says what? He spake and taught diligently the things of the Lord, knowing only the baptism of John. Now, we understand, right, here in the Sons of Zion, we don't have free will. All right. The Most High God is the one that controls everything. He puts it on your spirit to go whichever way. So let's first get that understood, that the Most High God is always in control, and we never have control. I like to go to the book of Psalms 100 and verse 3 always to show we don't manifest anything. We don't have any control. We are the sheep of the Lord's pasture, and it's him that hath made us and not we ourselves. So we have to understand those things. All right. So we don't have free will. The Most High God is always in control, but we see right here that the Lord put it on Apollo's spirit to do what? Serve him. And he was eloquent in the scriptures. So let's go deeper into the account, right? Let's go to First Corinthians, right? 3 and verse 2. It says what? I have fed you milk and not with meat. For here too, you were not able to hear it, neither yet now are ye able. For ye are yet carnal. For whereas there is among you envying and strife and divisions, are ye not carnal and walk as men? So, right, Paul in the land of Corinth is giving a message to them. He's saying you can't even hear the milk. You can't even hear what I'm teaching you because you have a carnal mind. Among you, you envy one another. You're jealous of one another, right? You say what you agree with and disagree with, and you have envy and strife and contention, and one is speaking evil of the other, and sowing discords and divisions is taking place, right? It says, are you not carnal and walk as men? It says, I have planted, Apollos watered, right? So there's envy and strife and divisions. One saying Apollos, one is saying Paul, right? But he's saying, right, Paul is saying, I planted the seed and Apollos is watering the seed. But ultimately, we have the same goal, is that we're planting and watering and cultivating the flowers and tending to the sheep of the Lord, that they may grow thereby the milk, right? Saying what? It says, but God gave the increase. So then neither is he that planteth anything, neither he that watereth, but God that giveth the increase. So he's giving all honor and glory to the Most High God and saying, look, we're unprofitable servants. Don't we bring out that scripture all the time? Every time we go to camp, Luke 17 and 10, we are unprofitable servants, right? We are all on the same mission to give the Most High God glory and honor, right? It says, reading on, now he that planteth and he that watereth are one, and every man shall receive his own reward according to his own labor. For we are laborers together with God. Ye are God's husbandry, and ye are God's building. So we are just unprofitable servants of the Lord, tending to the building of the Most High God, the house of Israel. We're on the same mission. So all of the envying and strife and the carnalities that y'all have on y'all need to stop, because we are on the same mission. Me and Apollos, right? Apollos and Paul, right, are on the same mission to plant the seed, water the seed, but God gives the increase. So stop the divisions and strifes, right? So right here, Apollos and Paul together showed a unified front. They were fervent in the spirit and they picked a side. Instead of falling into the carnality, right, of this world, they picked a side. I yield up.
King. Hey, and it's all spiritual at the end of the day, right? Because that was all carnality had they moved in a different frame of mind, right? Had they had that competition spirit on them, right? Had they had that my side versus your side spirit on them, right? That would have all been of a carnal mind. But what? The fear of the Lord is what kept them spiritual, right? Real quick, and we can prove that the fear of the Lord is absolutely necessary to rid yourself of that lukewarm spirit, right? It's the classic. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 10, and verse 28. It says, "And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell." Right? Brother Gabar kept touching on this point last night at camp, right? Our people, we tend to fear Esau. We tend to fear the white man. We tend to fear going to his jails. We tend to fear going into debt to him and losing houses and cars and yada yada. We tend to fear all these things, right? But what about our fear for the Most High God, right? The fear for the one that created us, the fear for the one that can that can push our stop button at any given moment in time, right? That can raise us up just to push it again, right? Like, where's the fear for the high power, right? We need these things, right? Because as the brother was bringing out, the fear of the Lord is going to do what? It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 8, and verse 13. It says, "The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride, and arrogancy, and the evil way and the forward mouth," right? Do I hate, right? There's no arrogancy, right? In Paul's words, when he says, "Hey, Apollos watered, but at the end of the day, it was the Most High that gave the increase." We are unprofitable servants. We're just cogs in the machine, right? This machine called, doing the work for the Most High. And that's what it should be about, right? There should be no room for any type of vainglory, especially when we all fall short, right? It's hypocrisy at the end of the day, right? And hypocrisy is something that the Most High hates. The Most High detests it, right? Again, we're supposed to be priests, enforcers, right? Upholders of justice and righteousness, right? We're supposed to be the salt of the earth, as Yahweh Shah brought out, right? The book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 13. It says, "Ye are the salt of the earth. But if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted?" Right? You'll be real pissed off. let's say you go over your in-laws house, right? Your in-laws say, "Hey, come on over. We making chicken. We baking chicken for dinner. Come have dinner with us." This, that, and the third, right? You get over there. They give you a plate. You look at it like, "Oh, it look kind of straight. Look kind of straight. Smell like water though." You kind of cut up the chicken breast. It's tender. It's tender. It's hot. It's steamy. It's juicy. Type kind of bite into it, and it tastes like water. You'll be hella mad, right? You be like, where the salt at? You're like, "Oh, we put salt in there." Salt in where? I don't taste no salt, right? This is what the Lord tastes when he looks at that lukewarm heart, that lukewarm spirit, right? You weren't fervent, right? You weren't on fire, right? You didn't salt this thing, right? There's no flavor, right? And that's supposed to be what we're here to do, right? Our people, we're the most influential on all the earth. Whatever we say is cool, right? We set the fads, we set the trends. Again, that's why the Lord gave us the laws to be priests on this earth, right? But what have we been doing, right? We've been pushing the trend that it's okay to be YNs, right? It's okay to be on all manner of drugs, right? And it's okay to pimp out our women, right? Turn them into whores. It's okay to do all form manner of debauchery, right? And that's the type of world that we're living in now, right? And I mean, yeah, we didn't create these things, but we made these things trendy, right? And the Most High is not pleased with that. Again, that's why the earth is polluted with all manner of wickedness, right? Our salt has lost its savor, right? But let me keep reading. It says, "It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men," right? And that's where we at right now. We're at the lowest of the low, right? Trodden underfoot of all the other nations, right? We're oppressed daily because we lost our Savior, right? We're put into prison daily because we lost our Savior. We're put to death daily because we lost our Savior. We are afflicted daily because we lost our Savior, right? This is not the way that the Most High has intended for us. This is not us being set upon high above all nations. But why is that? Because of our lukewarmness, because we had lost our Savior. Verse 14, "We are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid," right? I remember being a kid, I was always interested in, like, brother's gonna say I'm off, but again, I was in the world, I was a kid, right? My born day is October 31st. So I used to always be interested in like stuff. Brother, stop shaking your head. Used to always be interested in stuff like that, right? And I would always, there was this show I used to watch when I was a kid. It was called Truth or Scare or something like that, right? And she would always like go into like different like little legends or whatever. And it was on the watcher after she had brought out all the evidence to decide whether it was a true story or whether it was just some urban myth, right? And they used to always show these gigantic castles. They used to just sit on like cliffs or high mountains, right? Right. If you lived anywhere in the towns under that mountain, bro, you're gonna look up and you're gonna see that castle, right? This is what the Lord say we are supposed to be, right? He says, "You are the light of the world, a city that is set upon a hill," right? We're supposed to be those castles that are set up, that everybody else, they have no choice. If they look up, they're gonna see it, right? That's supposed to be what we're supposed to be. Again, a kingdom of priests, those enforcers, right? But if we're, say, the dirty cops of the world, right? We look the other way and we don't judge evil, right? We look the other way and we don't plead for the fatherless or the widow, right? We look the other way and we give ourselves into carnality. We're in competition with one another, right? Well, what's going to happen to everybody that looks at us, right? They're going to follow suit. And then again, the world will be exceedingly polluted in wickedness. This is why the Most High it has such disdain for being lukewarm. The same disdain that your parents will have if you have younger siblings and you're the older, right? And you're the older by a few years. Hey, your parents are going to look at you and say, "Hey, you know better," right? Your little brother and your little sister, hey, they coming along, but I need you to be that example of everything that we poured into you, right? So that they can get it, and so that they can see you and say, "Hey, big brother, he does this, that, and the third, and mom and dad seem to be real pleased with this, that, and the third. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this, that, and the third." It's simple. It's a simple thing, right? But I'm gonna keep reading and pass it. Verse 15 says, "Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it give it light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven, right? And at the end of the day, that's the end goal, right? Is for the Most High God, Yahweh, to get all praise, honor, and glory, right? And we and again, it's all of the Most High. It's all of His divine plan, right? Just speaking from a man's perspective, right? We rob our Lord of His due glory when we are living a lukewarm life, because people are supposed to see us and say, "Hey, you know what? All praises to the Most High." But how do they do that when they see us living in hypocrisy, right? And with that, I yield.
Con. Con. So like, even laying back with that, it's like a lot comes with being with the Most High, right? A lot comes with when you pick the side that you want to be on, right? And to say, Most High will, you pick the side of the Most High, right? It now just depends on how you're gonna react to certain things, right? As the brother brought out with other people that was in the spirit when they made their choices, right? Because people will want you to compromise the Lord to please them, right? They want you to do what they need you to do so you can please them, because they don't want to do what you're doing, because a lot of people don't want to change, right? So even when it gets like down to affliction or life gets spicy, it's like, how are you going to react, right? Um, it was one thing one time somebody tried to tell me to do some things for a birthday party. In the midst of me telling them no, they told me I was zealot. And I was like, what does that mean? And I looked it up, and it means you're uncompromising, right? In pursuit of someone that's in the pursuit of their religious, political, or other ideals, they're uncompromising. And I said, you know what? You're right. I am uncompromising. I'm not finna go against the Most High to please you. And that stuck with me. And I said, thank you for putting me on to a new word, right? But the Most High will look highly upon that if you're uncompromising to the world for the Most High, right? So I got some accounts I'm gonna read of people that were uncompromising and willing to do whatever they need to do for the Most High, right? But let me first get this. Let me get Matthew 10:28. And it says, and fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, right? So people can want to hurt you, people can want to throw sticks and stones, beat your body up, kill you, but we're not supposed to fear that, because we're gonna end up dying one day, right? But we shouldn't worry about that. But we rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell, right? So you want to make sure you fear basically the Most High, because he's the one that's going to have with your soul based off your actions, right? But let me get to the accounts that I was speaking about. Let me get Second Maccabees 6, and we're going to start off with verse 6, right? And it says, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. So they're at a time right now where they had some people that were trying to have the Jews be uncompromising about what they wanted to do and keep the feast days, right? They wanted them to not keep the feast days. And if you did keep the Sabbath and everything like that, it was a hell to pay, per se, right? It's highly big consequences, right? So I'm going to jump down to verse 9. And he says, and whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery, right? Let's go down to verse 11. And it goes, and others that had run together in caves nearby to keep the Sabbath day secretly. So there were some people there that were still going to do what the Most High said, despite their affliction, despite the consequences that they could get, right? But what did they do? They didn't fear man. They feared the Most High more. So I'm going to do what the Most High says. Whatever comes of it, right? So let's continue. But it's like being discovered to Philip were all burnt together because they made a conscience to help themselves for the honor of the most sacred day. So they made a choice. They were willing to die to keep the Most High laws, statutes, and commandments, to keep the Sabbath day. Like our people nowadays, they're not worried about that. You know what I'm saying? But how many people do we know is going to keep the Sabbath day in fear of dying and not worry about getting killed if they get caught by doing so, right? So that's it's a mighty account to think that they chose a side they chose to serve for the Most High, right? Because that's ultimately the whole duty of man. That's ultimately the only thing that really matters, right? So let me go down to even Second Maccabees chapter 7, right? Let me see, and it goes number verse 1. And it came to pass also that 7 brethren, which their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips. So they told them basically they wanted y'all to eat pork because they knew the Most High, his people, were not to eat pork. It's going against the law. So what do they do? I'm going to torment you, right? I'm going to cause affliction upon you so you can break these laws, statutes, and commandments, right? But one of them that spake first said thus, what wouldst thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers, right? They said they were ready to die versus transgressing the law. They picked their side. They stood with it. They was 10 toes down, not wavering, right? There's more into that, but for sake of time, I'm not going to get into it, but continue reading Second Maccabees 7 and going down basically most of the chapters, not the whole chapter, you'll see, right? So these people are willing to die, right? Which is a good thing. Let me get First Peter 3:17, right? So we go to First Peter 3:17. Look. For it is better if the will of God be so, that ye suffer for well doing than for evil doing. It's rather to die for the Lord, die for something good versus dying for some folly. You out there in the streets doing a drug trade, a drug transaction, and you get killed because you get robbed. That's not no honor in dying to that. In the world, they're going to say, oh, that's a real one. Nah. But the Most High, we're not dying for evil doing. We rather suffer for well doing, right? Let me get this last one and I'll be done. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 3, and we're going to go to 25 because this ties in with the people in Maccabees, right? Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. For the Lord shall be thy confidence and shall keep thy foot from being taken, right? So we're not afraid of the fear, right? We're not going to afraid of these the people that's going to be wicked to us. So they got to keep that in mind when you pick a side, right? Is you riding with the Most High is good and bad things that may come with it, right? The good thing is you riding with the Most High. You're a friend of his, not an enemy. A quote unquote bad thing is you may lose some friends, family members, or certain things because these people don't want to change. But I ultimately want to be with the Most High because who gonna be with me is who gonna be with me, right? So it's like I'd rather choose that good side and not be lukewarm and do like his accounts did and be fervent in the spirit. And if I gotta lose my life for the Most High, then that's what comes with it, and it's rather to do that than something else. And I yield.
Hey, brother, you made some mighty points, right? In regards to relationships. You know, a lot of our people, they tend to what? Trim their ways to seek love, right? That's scripture, right? That's also part of being lukewarm. You know, some of our people, they hold on to relationships with certain people. And what it does is it results into them, you know, falling in and out of spirit, being inconsistent because of the negative influences of people that don't have their best interests, right? But what we also have to understand, though, is that whenever you lose something for the Lord's sake, you will be blessed, right? He will actually bless you twice as much. He will replace an even better, right, member that you lose for the Most High God and His sake, right? You know who lost family members? You know who lost relationships? Job. Let's go to Job, right? First, I'm gonna get James chapter 5 and verse 10. It says what? Take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. Behold, we count them happy which endure. We have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy. Right. So they're referring to, you know, how Job was rewarded in the end, even after he showed his patience and he endured, right? So let's go to Job. Job chapter 1, and I'm gonna go to verse 13. It says, "And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, The oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sabians fell upon them and took them away. They have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee." So imagine, chilling, and then somebody comes and tells you that, hey, look, we had somebody came and they stole your cattle, right? What else? It says, while he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of God is fallen from heaven and have burned us and have burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them. And I have only am escaped alone to tell thee. So fire came down from heaven, right? And now his sheep is gone, man. And some of his servants are missing. So now the employees of the business that he ran, and also his sheep and also his oxen are gone. What else did he lose? Reading on, it says what? While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of God is fallen from heaven and have burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them. And I am also escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels and have carried them away, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I am only escaped alone to tell thee. So now his camels are gone, right? You got to understand, right? These might be just animals to you, right? Some of our people, they're not animal people, right? But this is part of his business. So if you own your own restaurant, imagine some of your locations being burned down. Hey, if you own a department store and you like to make clothes, right? Imagine, the textile mill you do business with, you done lost your plug on that. And imagine some of your clothes being burnt down, or a flood comes and it mildews and it wipes out your store. This is what's happening to Job, right? Because we understand that some of our forefathers were well off financially, where they, Father Abraham was, where they actually had a business going. And they were tending to the land, right? And there's in this case, right, he's losing cattle and he's losing servants and employees. It says, what, reading on? While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. Now here's the kicker, man. This is what makes a lot of people legs buckle, right? It says, and behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I am also only am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job arose and rent his mantle. So after losing his sons, his daughters, right, his sheep, his oxen, right, his camels, and some of his employees of the business he was running, he loses all of that. And people are coming back and telling him. It says, what did he do then? Did he pick a side? Let's see. Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell upon the ground and worshiped and said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this, Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. So through all of that, all the things that he lost, Job humbled himself. He rent his clothes, his mantle, right? He shaved his head, right? And he worshiped the Most High God, even though the Most High God took some of the most valuable things in his life. How many of us can say that? How many of us can do that? A lot of us say, we take the microphone. A lot of us, we say, I got 4 sons. Oh yeah, I got 3 daughters. Oh, I got beautiful children. What if the Most High God took them all at once? Would you be fervent in the spirit? Some of our brothers, some of our sisters, they don't have kids. I'm one of those people, right? But everything, losing everything and being fervent in the spirit. Can you pick that side? This is what forefather Job did, right? We can learn from this, right? James chapter 1 and verse 12 says, "Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him." Right? So Job received the promise. Let's see what it is, and then I'm going to pass it. Job 42 and verse 10. It says, "And the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Also the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. Then came there unto him all his brethren and all his sisters and all they that had been of his acquaintance before, and did eat bread with him in his house. And they bemoaned him and comforted him over all the evil of the Lord that had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep and 6,000 camels and 1,000 yoke of oxen and 1,000 she asses. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters." So the Most High God blessed him double in the end. And the Most High God gave him more children. You understand? So we see right in the accounts, right? Romans 15 and 4, these former accounts are written for our learning, and we see how when we endure, when we pick a side, when we fail to be lukewarm, but rather fervent in the spirit, we see how the Most High God rewards us of it. And we understand that the Most High God is not one to break promises. We have to keep these things in mind, man. No lukewarm spirit. We have to pick a side and be fervent in the spirit. You understand? I yield there.
Just to land me back off that point, I don't have too much more, right? You'll be foolish to think that the Most High is not going to make you pick a side, right? What does Yahweh say out of his own mouth? It's the book of Matthew chapter 10, verse 34, right? Man, this was, I'll be honest, and I probably never told brothers this, but this is one of them precepts that shook me, but I had to prepare my spirit for it prior to coming into the truth, right? Matthew 10 and 34. It says, "Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's foes shall be they of his own household," right? The brother was going into Job, right? And how he lost everything that he lost, right? But another point, right? Job's own wife. Stop. Job's own wife was had a wicked spirit on her and was telling him to curse God and die, right? Why are you holding on to your integrity, right? This is that division that the Most High God is gonna put here on this earth, right? And we have to be able to pick a side, right? Verse 37, "He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me," right? Are you one of those ones that are going to trim your ways for love, right? Are you going to, man, I barely get to see my son, and it's his birthday today, and shoot, his mom was allowing me to come by and spend time with him for his birthday at his birthday party. Are you gonna kind of go to the birthday party just for love? As hard as that may be, right? As hard as that may be, is that the choice that you're gonna make? Knowing that the Most High God is displeased with us celebrating birthdays. That's what got Job's kids killed, right? Are you gonna forego the Lord's feelings for your child's feelings? You barely get to see your family because you're always busy. You're always doing this and you're always doing that. You're either at work or you at camp or whatever, right? But you're always handling some type of business, right? You finally get the week off, and it happens to be Thanksgiving week, and the family calling you over. Hey, we got Thanksgiving dinner. You come spend time with the family. You hardly ever We hardly ever get to see you, right? Was you gonna trim your ways to go do that? Knowing that you miss your family, you probably really miss them. If you anything like me, I'll be honest, I'll be missing my family. But are you gonna trim your ways toward the Most High to seek the love and validation of your family members, right? This is what it means to pick a side, right? Because being lukewarm is saying what? You know what? It's just a little bit of turkey, right? I ain't gonna be that long. So I'll go over there, give me a plate real quick, kiss my grandma, and I'm be out, right? Or Christmas time, man, I don't celebrate it. I really don't, but she kind of gave me a gift, and grandma usually blesses me. So I'm gonna hold on to the gift, and I'll wait a week before I open it. No, right? That's lukewarm. That's trimming your ways. At the end of the day, the Most High knows your heart, and He knows how wicked it is. He knows the intentions of your heart, and He sees that you are being lukewarm. You are a salt that has lost its savor, right? But let me keep reading, right? Verse 38. It says, "And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it." Right? We understand that the world we live in, folly is set in great dignity, right? And the rich sit at a low estate, right? All of the people that seems like they got something, they all do what? Push some type of folly. It makes no damn sense how you can become a multi-millionaire when all you do is sit in front of your computer and bullshit all day. But yet we got that now. They call them streamers, right? It makes no sense how you can start up a YouTube channel and all you do is talk shit about random topics all day. Call it a podcast, and now you're a multi-millionaire, right? This is the type of world that we're living in, right? And a lot of people are going to hold on to those things. A lot of people put a lot of value and trust in those things. This is their treasure, and that's why their heart is there, right? But what happens when those things start getting taken away because they want to serve the Lord? Are they going to stop serving the Lord just so they don't lose those things, right? Are they going to let those things go to serve the Lord? Pick a side. That's the message of the day. Pick a side, right? Jump back. Because what? The Most High, again, knows your heart, right? When you pick your side, you have to what? Pick it with all fervency of spirit. You have to pick it with everything you got, right? If you're going to pick the Lord, stand on that. You know, before I get that, get the book of Joshua. Classic, chapter 24, verse 15, right? It says, "And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve." Hey, pick one and stand on it, right? Because there's no such thing as you being able to fool the Most High. He's going to know where your heart is, right? Because at the end of the day, whether you realize it or not, you're going to start to trim your ways, right? It says, "Whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord," right? And this is the way that the brothers and sons of Zion have determined to establish their ways, right? We determined to establish our ways on the Most High. We decided to lean on the Most High because what? The Most High is our defense. The Most High is the one who feeds us. The Most High is the one who clothes us, gives us shelter, wakes us up every single day, right? All of these other carnal things, which most of our people like to relish in based off of their own quote unquote power, right? These things we understand they'll get burnt up, right? These works will get burnt up, pursuant to 1 Corinthians chapter 3. We understand that. Right? So when you come to serve the Lord, stand on it. Be bold in it, right? Because the Lord will have it no other way. He either wants all of you or none of you, right? Because what? It's the book of Luke, chapter 9. I'm going to start at verse 59, right? It says, and he said unto another, follow me. But he said, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. Yahweh said unto him, let the bury their dead, but go thou and preach the kingdom of God. And another also said, Lord, I will follow thee, but let me first go bid them farewell, which are at home at my house. And Yahweh said unto him, no man having put his hand to and looking back is fit for the kingdom, right? So if you say you come in to serve the Lord, but your heart and your mind is still on what you got going on in the world, right? Your heart and your mind is still set on making sure you're good in the world, right? You're not worthy of the Most High God because you're not fully surrendering yourself into Him. You're not standing. You're not picking a side. You're fence sitting. And nobody likes a fence sitter, like we said at the very beginning, right? Let's see. You know what? No, I'm a year right there. I'm a year right there.
Mighty points, mighty points. I'm gonna get my last precept for it. So the brother made some points of everything about being people that you're gonna be with when you pick your side, right? So I'm gonna go back to Sirach 27 and 9. The birds will result unto their like, so will truth return unto them that practice in her. Right? So it's like once you pick your side, you need to be, since we're not going to be wishy washy, since we're not going to be lukewarm, we're going to be on one side. So just like the birds return, birds will resort unto the light, like they say, birds of a feather flock together, right? So it's like we have to be with people that's going to be willing to serve the Most High, right? That's not going to be wavering, right? And it says, the truth. Will truth return unto them that practice in it. And what is the truth, right? So we go to Psalms 119, 142, right? Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth, right? So when you practice this and the truth will come into you and we keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, we know that that's giving us one step closer to the kingdom, right? One step closer to trying to get our people to be on the same page, one step closer to us spreading the word and everything of that nature, right? So once again, I'm gonna keep harping on it that time is of the essence. We don't know how much more time we have left, and we don't know which way he'll come. I'm gonna get one of my favorites I like to harp on a lot to try to keep me in the spirit as well. And it says in 2 Peter 3:9, Slack 3:10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Right. And the most part that sticks out to me is that when he comes back, it's going to be as a thief in the night, right? We don't know when the thief is going to come and break into our house, but what we do, we set up cameras, we set up defenses. Brothers may have guns, whatever, in our house, just in case that happens. But it's not an alert or an alarm that, hey, this thief is coming to your house tonight at 10 p.m. You're not going to get that alert. You're not going to get no email. He'll be there at 1:30 a.m. on the back door. You might want to be ready. Only thing you can do is prepare for the unexpected. And that's what we have to do now. We have to pick our side, be prepared for the unexpected, be a servant, and try to endure to the best that we can. Because time is at hand, the kingdom is at stake, and our soul is our soul. And with that, I yield.
Mighty points, man. We gotta really understand, how that lukewarmness make the Most High feel. You know what I mean? And how that's irritating to him. And we got so many things that happen to us in our day to day that irritates us. Like for an example, our sisters might, roll their eyes at this, but when it's time to find something to eat, they tend to be, indecisive. You know, uh, that might that might ruffle little feathers, but it's irritating to the man because it's like, hey, look, what you want? You want chicken? You want burgers? You want You know, it's cheat day. What you want to eat? No, and then we're back and forth. I want this one. No, I don't want that no more. I want it. And now the indecisiveness is irritating to you now, right? Well, how much more so does the Lord feel when you indecisive and inconsistent in His truth? You understand? So it's like it's a lot in a lot of different ways we can understand this, right? So Lord willing, somebody was edified or will be edified in the coming days and on the replay. We love you, Israel. Stay fervent in the spirit and pick a side. Pick a side. Stay consistent. With that, shalom.
Shalom.